Hi everyone, welcome to the Digital Fifth Fintech Show. Today we have with us Purav, who's a co-founder of Glib. It's an interesting company focused on digitization of documents, and it uses AI/ML primarily, and it helps in digitization as obviously fraud management as well. Because if there's any chance any document has any issue, it is able to catch that and helps and simplifies that journey. Right. So anybody who's building a lending journey or underwriting customer, this product and this solution is of great use. And welcome on board, Purav. Good to have you here. And we want to hear more about what you guys do.
Thank you so much for having me, Samir. Uh, we at Glib are focused on helping businesses achieve last mile automation in their processes, especially when it comes to the lending or the fintech businesses. What we focus on is to be able to help them analyze the unanalyzable sources, be it speech, wherein they have recordings and they are able to extract information out of that and convert it into a database or an actionable format. Be it documents like bank statements, financial statements, invoices, collateral reports, wherein they all these documents that they have are in an unstructured, non-formatted formats, and they are able to get that in a database format so that they can use that for more analysis, maybe for credit models or for internal processing or for any other purpose that they may have. Doing this will help them achieve a total digitization of their processes. Because as of now, if you see, people do have RPAs, people do have workflow automation, but what they miss out on, or where most of their menial resources are concentrated on, are arenas like documentation, wherein they have to manually look at those documents and extract information.
Okay. Okay.
That is a process that we are looking to completely automate for businesses, thus making them more agile and prone to quicker decision making.
So what specific use cases and how would you add more value to what already exists in the market?
So currently, a lot of these documents, as I mentioned, let's say you talk about the Indian market, let's take in context the Indian market. A lot of the people, when asked for documentation, they provide physical papers or they provide scanned images, or even if it's a system, an email generated document. These documents are not currently processed properly or not processed in an automated fashion through entry. You are not able to look at those documents and say, hey, okay, these are the salient features or these are the parameters that I was seeking from. And that does not happen in an automated fashion. So you end up having humans to look at the document and fill up Excel sheets. That is one activity that is prevalent across the board. All the companies have this.
I agree.
This is the only bottleneck, or this is the only point which is making total digitization elusive for these companies. And that is where we come in. If you talk about a financial statement, for example, there are hundreds and thousands of CAs, and all of them make different financial statements for each and every of their customers. So you do not have a standard format, and you do not have an RPA system which can read all those formats. So what we do is through our intelligent algorithms, we are able to understand the context of the tabular information or the paragraph and comprehend what has been written. And we are able to populate a standard database for these businesses, which then they use to analyze that particular company. So let's say if it's my company and you want to know 10 things about it, starting from the revenues to the tax, to the profits, to the gross profits, to the net profits, the tax that I have paid, or the operating expenses. It may be present in any part of the document, but it is my duty to extract that information from the document, provide it to you in the database in the exact cell that you want.
So basically, you're saying that beyond statements, you can also do processing of financial statements as well.
Yes, so we've already executed that for a leading bank in the United States, and we are currently working on that for the Indian context.
Okay. So in the current COVID scenario, digital is going to get very, very heavy. So what is your recommendation to banks and maybe any of the segments? What should they focus on, and what are the process change they need to do so that they can sort of establish the digital mode faster, better, sharper?
So COVID has forced people to understand to digitize. But when you look at talk when we used to talk about digitization earlier, it was more from a transactional purpose. But now it will also be from the standpoint of contact, which means that even the first contact that a user has, or a customer or a potential customer has with the bank or an NBFC, needs to be digitized. So your digitization has to start at the get go, right from the time you get a lead to you having to do a KYC with that gentleman or the lady. That needs to be digitized. So you need to look at video KYC solutions. And this is not pertaining to just banks or fintech companies. Even telecom companies need to do that. Any particular company which has a KYC process needs to have a video KYC to start off with. Uh, all the or their documentation needs to be taken in a digital format. So you need to nudge them to give you scanned images or photographs, and then those need to be processed. You need to have e-signatures where there is on e-verifications, or they sign that virtually. So those systems need to be in place, and your disbursals. If you talk about fintechs, the disbursals also need to be totally digitized. So
Okay.
cash disbursals are something that would not survive for long, because the COVID situation, while may and hopefully being temporary, will put a permanent impact on the social norms that people are going to follow.
This is interesting. But when you talk about so much of dependency on external documentation, I mean, there's enough fraud and a lot of people can actually fudge their documentation and all. So how should bank handle it, right? Because there's one, they are right now putting people on the job. They will extract. I think there will be at least four eye principle. Somebody will look at it. But when it's machine, how do you think it will be handled?
That's interesting. So the first aspect that we should look at this is that this is like a game of cat. That fraudsters will always try to fudge documents, and they'll find newer and innovative ways. And it is up to us as data enablers, or the fintechs as dispersers, to try and figure out how best are they trying to fudge the documents. And that has to be a continuously evolving process, which we are already doing. On another level, something that has really helped or is going to help such cases is a 360-degree compliance or systems, wherein you are able to look at a person's profile from multiple aspects. One being a civil report, or any credit rating report. One being your bank statement. One being their GST filings, their IT returns. And IT returns are so all of these documents are readily available in the market. Very soon, account aggregation will also come. So to a certain small group of people, that will be also helpful, wherein you get more information about the users. So all these multiple sources, we need to use those multiple sources to triangulate a user's data. And then, having done that, you'll be able to ascertain whether or not the information that this person has provided is genuine or not. So as and when more data sources start coming in, we also have their social media profiles, their SMS data, everything. So as and when more and more sources of information start coming in, their window to do any manipulation reduces, or becomes nearly zero.
Very interesting. Very interesting. So another pointer is because you are a co-founder of this company, and we all have gone through this one last few months and I think, well, let's say last 6-7 weeks have been very tough for the ecosystem. Mental level, physical level is one, we can't walk out, but mentally you are always looking at how do you survive and thrive. So how has been your perspective? What would you recommend? One, what have you done? And what would you recommend to early stage founders how to get going?
um, well, we are more of a technology company. So it has been thankfully easy for us as compared to most other companies to be able to completely shift our processes remotely. We in fact started working remotely around 10 days before the lockdown was announced. So in terms of in terms of how to do how to get into a remote mode, that is something that has come easy to us by due to the nature of work we do, and that we are thankful for. In this 6 to 7 week period, we have been able to effectively utilize this period by doing a lot of self development. So almost everyone in my organization, in our organization, has been taking some or the other courses for self-development. So we know that once the lockdown lifts up, once the work starts increasing, the workload starts increasing, they are well equipped as compared to what they were at that point of time. So that is one thing we have emphasized. We have a professional enhancement program in place where they are able to, continuously keep on learning. And I think if our own people learn is when we grow. So that is one thing we have been able to do. Second is this has also come as a blessing to us, to be honest, because we have been able to get more attention from our clients and prospective clients in terms of the development support. And we have been able to improve our systems by a huge extent due to this. So while a lot of discussions we were having and a lot of contract signing or a lot of deals to be done have been pushed back, it has definitely contributed to improving our product as it is. So so to the founders or to fellow founders, I would say, what I would recommend is just look at the light at the end of the tunnel. Try to stay as much positive as you can. And while it's difficult, it's easier said than done. But let's look at the travel industry and say that okay, we are better off than them. So try and find out try to be more positive about the entire situation. This too shall pass.
I think my view has been that this too shall pass, but it will pass maybe much better for those who are in positive frame of mind. Yes. And I think a lot of guys will languish and will not be able to proceed. So I think it's time for real entrepreneurial character to come out and hit, right? After 3 years, I am exactly feeling what I was thinking 3 years back. And how aggressive I was then and how aggressive I am now. Now, actually, the same characteristics right now playing. I started podcast actually exactly 3 years back when I started. And I gave it up because we were getting into one direction. Now I have picked up, and this is for good, right? We will continue to have it for years. So I'm totally with you. I think we have to take it in a different light. And maybe it's about helping us to sort of rethink. So before we close, any last pointers you want to share with us? Anything which we should look at?
I think I believe I am a big believer of signs and serendipity, and all through my life I was trying to look for a butterfly effect, something where a small spark can actually change the course of the world, and COVID in a negative way, but is one of them. But what I do see is that this has provided a genuine nudge that was required in the ecosystem or in any business ecosystem to actually digitize, to reduce the unnecessary work or unnecessary lifestyle additions that we had, and we have reverted back to a more simpler lifestyle. I would leave everyone with the thought that look at this particular thing as a positive. Let's try to continue a more organic lifestyle that we have been following in the past 6 or 7 weeks, and let's try to shed off all the unnecessary stuff that we have been doing in our lives, which do not really contribute to our productivity or happiness.
I agree. And one of them was that working from office. I think working from home has been sort of so powerful. And for me, I'm one of those guys who typically one time when my boss told me that your team will move away from the corporate office and we will put you in back office. And I said, if you move me out or move the team out, I'm out of the company. And I'm coming to a position where I'm saying, not just we are going to work continuously from home only. I think our entire team, even when we are hiring right now, you will see some ads soon. We are going to hire, and hiring will be from their own hometowns, and we are not expecting them to come to office. at least now, not for a year, maybe not for maybe a couple of years, and maybe never, because a lot of our guys we just hired are extremely productive sitting at home. And I know we were doing some activity, and they had this the kid's mother taking care of him all the time while he was working for us. So I think I'm just looking at it. Somebody comes to big town, he has to take care of house and all of the overheads, and then travel. I think we're just going to be able to remove that. So good stuff. Thank you, Purav, for joining us. This has been a lot of learning for me, and best of luck for your journey. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Samir. Thanks for having me here. It's a pleasure talking to you.
Absolutely. Thank you.